Welcome, adventurer, to the Geek English Podcast and Tavern. I am Mr. Oldfire, and here you can practice your English listening skills through topics you love. In every video, we'll dive into familiar and exciting nerdy topics, helping you improve your listening while you enjoy the content. We'll break it down so you can pick up new vocabulary and sharpen your understanding of English. Today is the 5th episode of our Tolkien series, continuing our deep dive into the mighty men of Tolkien's universe. In the previous episode, we explored this vast topic and learned a lot, but there's still much more to uncover and expand our knowledge. So, if you want to practice listening in a fun way, grab a seat at the bar, ask for your hydromel, plug in your earphones, and let's explore the world of nerd culture while learning English. Welcome back, my friends. I was eagerly awaiting your return. Our last conversation was fascinating, and I couldn't wait to hear more of your stories. What new tales of the mighty men of Middle-earth do you bring today? Please, make yourselves comfortable.
Hey, Oldfire.
Hey!
Well, last time, we started exploring the history of men in Middle-earth. We talked about their great kingdoms, their heroic figures, and their role in shaping history. But today, we're diving deeper into the fallen realms, the corruption of men, and their ultimate fate.
I'm really excited for this. It's amazing how diverse the race of men is. For every hero, there seems to be someone who fell to darkness.
Exactly. And that's where we start today. We've seen how Gondor and Rohan stood strong, but not all the kingdoms of men were as fortunate. Have you heard about the lost kingdom of Arnor?
Yes! Arnor was the northern counterpart to Gondor, but it was weakened by internal conflicts and eventually destroyed by the Witch King of Angmar. While Gondor endured through its struggles, Arnor fell into ruin, and its people were scattered. But some of them became the Rangers, like Aragorn, who kept watch over the lands in secret.
That's right. The fall of Arnor was tragic, but it wasn't the only kingdom to face such a fate. There were other realms of men, like the once mighty lands of the East and South. However, many of them fell under the influence of the Dark Lord.
You mean the Easterlings and the Haradrim, right? They were great warriors, but Sauron manipulated them into serving him. It's sad because they were not inherently evil, just misled.
Exactly. Sauron knew how to exploit the weaknesses of men, the greed, ambition, and fear. He promised power to those who followed him, and many did. The most tragic example of this corruption is the Nine Rings.
Ah, the Rings of Power! The 9 rings were given to great kings of men, but they were deceived. Instead of making them powerful, the rings bound them to Sauron's will, transforming them into the Nazgûl, the Ringwraiths. They lost their free will, their physical forms faded, and they became his most terrifying servants.
And that's why the struggle of men is so compelling. Unlike the elves, who are nearly immortal and wise, men are always faced with choices. Do they stand for good, or do they give in to temptation? And the consequences of those choices shape Middle-earth.
It makes me think of Denethor, the steward of Gondor. He wasn't an evil man, but despair consumed him. Instead of leading his people with hope, he lost himself in fear and hopelessness. His story is a tragic example of how even the noble can fall.
That's a great example. And then we have another side of men, their resilience. Even after countless defeats, men continue to rise again. Aragorn's journey proves that men can reclaim their honor and restore their kingdoms.
And that brings us to the future of men in Middle-earth. Unlike elves, who eventually leave for the Undying Lands, men are destined to shape the world's future. Their mortality may be seen as a weakness, but it also means they have the freedom to forge new paths.
You two have done well in unraveling the tale of men. But let me tell you, the history of this race is filled with whispers, lost echoes of the past that few ever truly hear. And if there's one thing I've learned as a tavern keeper, it's that every story has layers, some known, some forgotten, and some waiting to be rediscovered. Take Numenor, for instance. Everyone knows of its fall, of the great wave that swallowed its proud people. But did all of them truly perish? Some say not. There are whispers of lost ships that sailed into the unknown, of bloodlines that still walk among us. unaware of the ancient power in their veins. And then there were those who did survive in Middle-earth, yet even they were not free from doom. Look no further than the dead men of Dunharrow. Once, they were warriors of great honor, sworn to stand with Isildur. But when the time came to fight, fear took hold of them, and they broke their oath. The punishment? An existence beyond death, cursed to wander until a true king released them. It is a grim reminder that while men may choose their own fates, the weight of an oath is not easily cast aside. But even oaths and curses are not the only mysteries of their kind. Far beyond Gondor and Rohan, beyond the lands we know, there were once great cities of the south, kingdoms that did not kneel to Sauron, resisting him in secret. What happened to them? Their names are forgotten, their ruins buried beneath sand and jungle, their stories lost to time. And yet, I wonder, if one were to seek them out, what might they find? Old relics? Ancient wisdom? Or perhaps a civilization that could have rivaled even Gondor, the Fape and Kinder? And then there's the greatest mystery of all, the fate of man after death. Elves have their undying lands, a clear path laid before them. But men, when they leave this world, they go where not even the valid dare to look. Some say it is a paradise beyond our understanding. Others whisper that it is the end, a void from which none return. No one knows for sure, but perhaps that is the greatest gift and burden of men, their freedom, not only in life, but in whatever lies beyond. So, my friends, as you study the stories of men, remember this. What is written in books is only part of the tale. The rest, it lingers in lost ruins, in unbroken oaths, in forgotten bloodlines, and in the uncharted lands beyond the horizon. If you listen closely, you may yet hear the echoes of their voices, carried by the wind.
That's a beautiful way to put it. In the end, men are the inheritors of Middle-earth. Their struggles, victories, and failures make them one of the most fascinating races in Tolkien's world.
Speaking of fascinating, I think it's time we move on to our next study. We've talked about elves and men, so what about the beings who shape the very world itself?
Really?
Yes! Next time, let's explore the Valar and Maiar.
Now that's a discussion I can't wait for.
Goodbye!
That was our 5th talk in the tavern. What do you think? Did you find it interesting? Well, if you feel like you exercise your listening skills and learn new vocabulary, come back another time. We all will be happy to share more conversations, drink a bit, and spend time together. Keep studying and join us for our next meeting. See you next time.